Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here, and today we're going to take a look at a combiner leader. We're taking a look at the 1986 Predacon leader, Razorclaw. Razorclaw was released in 1986. He would also be available in 1987 with the rest of the Predacons. He'd be discontinued in 1988, and we would not get a replacement for him, as naturally the Predacons were taken off the market. However, he almost made another appearance in the G1 line. There was talk that late in the Action Master line that they would design Predaking as an Action Master. Of course, Predaking would be combined mode of Razorclaw here and the other Predacons, so he almost made a second appearance, but that toy was dropped when they saw how poorly the Action Masters were selling here in the United States. As stated before, Razorclaw is the leader of the Predacons. And like the other Predacons, he does embody some of the traits of the animal form that he takes on. And in this case, as you can clearly see, he is a lion. So, being the king of the jungle or king of beasts, depending on how you refer to it, it is very fitting that that makes him the leader of the Predacons. Well, as I said, that's also depending on who you ask. Some that have been experts in the jungle, like quoted from an early version of the movie King Solomon's Mines, Alan Quatermain claimed that the true king of the jungle is the elephant, mainly due to its size and no natural predators. We'll leave that as it may, and let's focus more on Razorclaw. We'll take a look at some of Razorclaw's articulation, and he's got about average for what you expect from a Transformer. The head can be raised and lowered a bit, so he can kind of be made to look like he's looking up at something, but due to the way the head is positioned, that looks kind of stupid. His arms do rotate at the shoulders, but they are very stiff on this model. But we'll do it anyway to show you it does go all the way around. He can twist his body at the hip, both ways. There is a slight joint at the hip for his legs, but it does not allow for posability, but you can make it look like he's walking. I assume somebody could figure out how to keep that going without the hands, do a good stop motion video. And you can bend his legs at the knee, like so, and you can bend his foot at the ankle. So, about par for the course for your typical Transformer. It's not the best, but overall, it's not too bad for a Transformer of his size. As it turns out, when I readjusted him, since he tried to fall over, it turns out the lion's legs here are supposed to be resting with the feet up next to his head, so that's the proper way he's supposed to be. Kind of got to be careful with him. He does get a little top-heavy. Now, let's transform Razorclaw. Of course, as usual, we start by removing his accessories. And we're going to rotate his arms so they are straight down. Like so. And next, we're going to take the robot head and we will fold it down so it lays against his backside, like so. We'll grab onto the front legs of the lion and we just bring them down. We'll fine adjust them once we've got him transformed. Now take the lion head here on the chest, gently slide it back and rotate it around like so. And then next, we're going to slide the fists up into his arms. Takes just a little bit of effort, like that. And then you just push them in at the shoulder till the yellow part disappears entirely. And now down here at his legs, we're going to fold in the feet, like so. Then we'll rotate the knee joint up and around so it locks in. And you'll see here in this yellow portion, there's some more red legs. You just rotate them out as far as they will go. And of course you adjust them right here at the hip so that they'll be touching the ground. Trying to keep the one hip piece out of the way is the challenge. And of course, for the last detail, this little small orange tab you will pull out as a tail. We'll make some minor adjustments here to the feet. And there you have it. As stated earlier, Razorclaw becomes a lion. You're gonna think the lion sleeps tonight when you stare this bad boy down. Anyway, as far as articulation goes, in this mode, well, we can rotate the head to the side like so. The front legs do rotate back about that far due to the fact this hip piece for predicing gets in the way. And you can move the foot at the ankle. On the back legs, you can bring them back like so, and they have just a small bit of movement on the foot. And of course, as an added bonus, even though he's got a couple of guns right here at his shoulders, you can add the other gun that he comes with onto his backside. And there you go. He's got the added defense, and of course in this position the gun does have 360-degree rotation. So he's covered from all angles. Now, if the figure had a little more articulation, you could imagine that this cannon could be when he's sitting in a more upright position like cats like to do. You could imagine this almost pointing skyward, making him an anti-aircraft battery. That'd have been a nice feature, wouldn't it? Eat your heart out, Simba. Here's the real Lion King. Now let's take a look at Razorclaw's accessories. We'll start with his gun. The instructions refer to this as a twin concussion blaster. Now, of course, the gun does have an extra feature on it here. These black portions can separate, and then they fold down back here on the opposite side, and then you can pull out this barrel, and then it becomes the rifle for Predaking. For the longest time, I never knew this end came out all the way like that. That makes for a real impressive gun, folks. I mean, that just looks sweet. I'm going to have to rebuild Predaking sometime. Make sure I have this fully extended. That's just cool. That's just cool. I like that. Alright, collapse it all down. And that's the gun for Razorclaw. And then, of course, he has a sword. Instructions describe this as a sonic sword. Not to be confused with the singing sword that Bugs Bunny famously wielded in one of his cartoons. And it's all just gold plastic, but this is the real serious gold type plastic. This stuff doesn't break as easily. This isn't that cheap junk that many of the later toys would be stuck with. And of course, since Razorclaw was the leader of the Predacons, he comes with the head for Predaking. Now, for the benefit of the newer viewers just joining into this channel, many of the other combiners, save for the Constructicons and the Pretender monsters, the combiner pieces would all come with the leader. In the case of the Predacons, they were similar to the Constructicons and the Pretender monsters, and each guy came with parts for the larger robot. So this is why Razorclaw here only comes with the head. Dive Bomb and Rampage include the fists, and Tantrum and Headstrong include the feet. So that's really all you need on them. Anyway, that's Razorclaw's loose parts. Moving right along now, let's take a look at his instructions. This is done up in the style that they had done in 1985, the year prior. I like the picture, but it's just terrible that you can't get him in that kind of a pose, as you can't really move his hands. Anyway, here's all the stuff he came with. I'll show here, swing down his tail and mount the gun. Then we go into how to transform Razorclaw. Into the massive robot that he is. And of course, on the back side of the instructions, first part up here is how to put the stickers on him. And down here's the usual stuff from the instructions at that time. How to read the rub sign, save your robot points, and how to read the tech spec decoder. Then of course over here on this side, you have instructions for Predaking. And of course down here at the bottom is Predaking's tech specs, which we will go over when we review Predaking. And that'll probably happen during another combiner month, because there are 4 combiners that I have not yet reviewed. So we may consider that. Just don't know if I want to do it next year or the year after. We'll kind of decide as soon as I get a planner, but if any of you viewers want to see that, sound off in the comments down below. At any rate, next up is his tech specs. And the picture there is kind of similar to what we saw in the instructions. It would be the same picture on the front of the box. It's all done in purple to show he's a Decepticon. It lists him as a Predacon. It gives his name as Razorclaw and lists his function as Predacon Leader. His motto is, "All good things succumb to those who wait." A nice play on the phrase, "all good things come to those who wait." Or even better, "all good things must come to an end." All business. Hates waste in any form. Won't burn an extra drop of fuel unless he's certain the results will be worth the effort. Long stretches of inactivity often mistaken for laziness. Explodes into furious, ferocious action when it's time to strike. As lion can leap great distances as long as a football field. Claws can rip through foot-thick steel. Has concussion blasters and sonic sword. Combines with fellow Predacons to form Predaking. Not bad, not bad. Kind of describes him as being somewhat cat-like when he's going to attack an enemy. Let's take a look at the grid and see what it says about his stats. It gives his strength as 8, his intelligence is 9, his speed is 4, his endurance is 9, his rank is 8, his courage is 10, his firepower and his skill are both at 7. So, aside from the low speed stat, Razorclaw here is a very powerful warrior and a semi-capable commander. Now we get down to my thoughts. What do I think of Razorclaw? Razorclaw is an interesting character, one that I kind of wish would have had some more development. As, of course, the Generation 1 cartoon, at that point, was more cramming guys in, more just to show them off, more than to really develop a lot of the minor characters. Of course, when you had such a lineup of characters, it's a little hard to put some effort and devotion to all of them. The More Than Meets the Eye guides state that Razorclaw is very, very patient when it comes to waiting for the right moment to attack somebody. He wants it to be quick, swift, and decisive as much as possible, but on his terms. So he often ends up ignoring what would be a more obvious opportunity in favor of doing it his way. And woe be it to anybody who tries to correct him on that. So consequently, it also means that he's sitting in the same position for long hours or even days on end, waiting for the right waiting for what he describes as the right moment. And then if he's done that for too long of a period, the right moment ends up being wasted because his joints have locked up on him and he can't move. So, that does lead for some hilarity, at least in our eyes. It won't be in his. But at any rate, as a toy, I think he's pretty impressive. I mean, he becomes the body of another combiner, so there is some limitation to what all the toy is capable of doing, or at least one made at this time, as I've been seeing on a lot more of the modern toys. They have improved that problem. But I do find him very impressive to look at, especially if you can get one in this good a shape here, with all these stickers here still on the mane. You know, that just makes him look real good. I mean, if it was just the orange, it would probably still look pretty good, but probably not as good as the gold stickers make it look. Just kind of looks better. Now, of course, if you got it as half and half, it's not going to look as good. Above all around, I think really Razorclaw just barely makes it into the top tier of Transformer toys. I mean, the toy itself, it's limited on its articulation, but he does have a pretty imposing size for many of the other combiner components that were released around the same time he was out, so he's got some good size going for him there. The articulation, it's not bad. I mean, it could be better. Yes, it could be better. But when you consider some that have come before him, it could be a lot worse, too. So it's kind of credit where credit's due. His accessories, he's got minimal, and I think that works for him. That works well for him. You don't have a lot of loose parts to find on this Predacon. In fact, he's the one that has the least amount of accessories. So you don't have to really go out of your way to find a whole lot of pieces for him. And I like that too. Plus, he's got a pretty decent tech spec. You look more into the lore, he's something of an interesting character. And he's a pretty powerful warrior. The only thing that really hurts him the most is just the way the toy came out. It leaves so much potential there, and unfortunately design limitations hold him back a little bit. So that's what keeps him just barely into the top tier, but I still think he deserves it. And that concludes my review of the Predacon leader Razorclaw. If you liked the video, please leave a thumbs up here on YouTube. Don't forget as well, hit that subscribe button and join up within our ranks. Don't forget to also click the bell so you'll be notified whenever I post new videos. And please share your thoughts of Razorclaw in the comments section down below. This is Sparkster1701 saying I'll catch you all later.